Beer Board for September 22nd, 2022.
David, do we know if Wes is coming or not?
Do you know if Wes is coming?
Okay,
What?
he's coming. I just
He's
saw
gonna
his
take his
truck.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind.
We'll manage this quick.
Yeah. Imagine that.
You'll benefit the middle school from that.
I'm ready.
Hey, the time is approximately 6 p.m. and the September 22nd, 2022 Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting will now come to order. All the Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman meetings are public notice per Tennessee state law. Our meetings can be seen live on Charter Channel 193 and TDS Channel 3, as well as the Farragut YouTube channel and our website. It will also be recorded and can be viewed at a later date on the Town of Farragut YouTube channel, as well as Charter Channel 193, TDS Channel 3. Concerning the regular posted agenda, if you are interested in speaking, we ask that you fill out one of the blue cards with your name and address and agenda number and turn it into the town recorder prior to the start of the meeting. The mayor, or in his absence, the vice mayor, shall maintain and control the meeting to provide a professional and objective environment, so please read the posted comment protocol and understand that there will be a 5-minute limit for each speaker, and please stay on topic. At the end of tonight's business meeting, there will be some time reserved for other public comment under the citizens' comment agenda. It will also require that you fill out a blue card to speak. Okay, I will start with the meeting call to order with a silent prayer and pledge allegiance to our country's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask the town recorder to please take a attendance roll call for a quorum.
Alderman Burnett.
Here.
Alderman Meyer.
Here.
Alderman Povlin.
Here.
Alderman White.
Here.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams here. Thank you, Allison. Next will be approval of agenda. Is there any amendments?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Okay, let the record show that September 22nd, 2022 agenda has been approved as stated. Next will be approval of minutes. Do we have any amendments to the amendments?
Yes, sir.
None, okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Okay, let the record show that September 8th, 2022 minutes have been approved and will be recorded as official minutes of that meeting. Okay, next we will start with tonight with our school donation presentations, and the Vice Mayor will read that.
Well, I didn't prepare any statements. Of course, that never stopped me from talking, did it?
No, it did not.
We are very honored to manage our town so well that we have funds that we can share with our schools. We understand that it's small compared to the needs of our schools, but it's enough that you guys get to get some special projects done that you all want to get finished, and we get to be part of that. And that brings us a lot of pride. We know that we've created this great town, but part of our great town is that we have great schools. We have dedicated principals and staff and volunteers and PTO moms that do all the heavy lifting. That a lot of the funding that we don't have. So just blessed. We are so blessed. So I'm just going to call the names here in a bunch, and then we'll do everyone individually. So we have our Farragut High School Education Foundation, and Mary Cook is our president. Mary Cook also serves on the Education Relations Committee. Then we have Farragut High School, and Dr. Bartlett is representing us. We have my Education Relations Committee. Oh, God. I'm looking at her, I'm thinking, Janet Morgan. Sorry, Janet. I'm so sorry. Janet's been with the Education Relations Committee for a couple of years now. Farragut Middle School, we have Wes Edmonds. You're not a doctor.
Not yet.
For our Farragut Intermediate School, we have Suzanne Parham, and for our Farragut Primary School, we have Lynn White. So we're going to take pictures individually, correct? Is that how we usually do it with the board? Do you want to do a group shot as well? Okay.
One shot.
Do you want to do it all together?
Okay, that's up to you.
Let's do it all together. Makes everybody happy. Oh, and Michelle Lynn is here from our Education Relations Committee. She's one of our student representatives. Come on up, Michelle. I'm just talking to her. You're fine. There's that.
Okay. I think so.
You're lucky you showed up because we were ready to spend your night.
Okay.
I'm going to stand in the back. We got to stand together. Okay, here, Karen's going to take ours. Can we get everybody in?
Some of the shorter ones up to the front, shorter. Sorry.
Louise, you're kind of hidden. Okay. There you go. Okay. Now you're good.
One more. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. You guys are great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sir, all right?
The best way to do it.
Good to see you.
That worked very fine.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Karen, can you send me one of those when you get a chance?
Yeah, right now?
Whenever.
Okay.
Not right now, but whenever, please.
Immediately.
I'd like my own shot. Thank you.
Are we good? Yeah, we are. Okay, you have anything else on your report?
No.
Nothing? Okay, any of the aldermen have anything to report?
No, sir.
None, okay. Okay, tonight we have a pretty light business agenda with 5 items to review and consider. We'll start off with approval of annual contract for the 2023 Tennessee Vacation Guide print and digital advertising.
Good evening, Board. I'm Karen Tyndall, the Tourism Manager here at the town, and this is for the approval of the annual contract for the 2023 Tennessee Vacation Guide print and digital advertising in the amount of $15,745. The tourism program started in February of 2018, and since that time, we have been advertising with Journal Communications. They're the sole producer of the official Tennessee Vacation Guide, which includes both print and digital advertising. We've been advertising with them since 2018. This year, our ad would include a half-page horizontal full-color ad, reader response services for lead generation, a sponsor attraction listing for the Farragut Museum, a live link to the Visit Farragut website, as well as a 30-second video via the digital vacation guide version. And the amount of that advertising is $10,945. Additional digital, an additional digital destination spotlight is advertising. It would run for a full calendar year. It includes a custom feature written specifically for the town of Farragut in the amount of $5,250 for a total contract of $15,745. So Visit Farragut has utilized the official Tennessee Vacation Guide as our primary print advertising source since 2018. It's instrumental in keeping our relationship and developing our relationship with the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, as well as Journal Communications, which is the publisher of the Vacation Guide. The Vacation Guide prints over 500,000 guides a year. They're available through all DMOs, so when we get our supply, we stock all of our hotels, town hall, community center, the Chamber of Commerce. So, they go out and we order them all the time. So they go to all the DMOs, the 16 Tennessee Welcome Centers. Those 16 Tennessee Welcome Centers have 15 million visitors annually. So a lot of people get their hands on these guides. Each printed guide includes a reader response card, which generates leads for destinations. In 2021, we collected 1,564 leads, and a lead is basically somebody returning. They've seen the ad in the vacation guide, either the print or the digital version, and they've contacted us directly for additional information about visiting our destination. So we've received 1,564 of those leads in 2021, and currently, or through August 31, 2022, we've already received 1,116 leads. These leads are used to create a database of potential visitors that have already shown an interest in visiting Farragut. In addition to the print guide, the digital version of the Tennessee Vacation Guide is optimized for mobile, tablet, and desktops. And we've talked before about how people, they like the paper guide, but when you're out, when you're actually in town, visiting wherever you are, you're usually using your smartphone there. So it's optimized for people to use it that way. They see 1.7 million page views each year. Let's see. The Destination Spotlight feature would be created specifically for Farragut, which leverages the already engaged audience by bringing our destination to life with a custom 1,000-word article written by an experienced travel writer. The travel writer will come here, meet us, interview, and we'll decide on that story content. All content is then optimized with direct links to our partner pages, our external websites, social media platforms, and it highlights the best in our businesses, restaurants, and attraction options. This year's ad features the newest attraction, which is Topgolf, and will feature our amazing East Tennessee shopping. The Tennessee Guide advertising is included in the fiscal year 23 budget in account line 2210, advertising and printing. That's what I have for you. Did I do that right, Allison?
You did.
I move to approve the contract.
Second.
Any resident comments?
No, sir.
None, okay. Discussion, we'll start out with Alderman White.
No, sir.
None. Alderman Meyer.
So the only question I have is just kind of my ignorance of it. Karen, so of the leads, the 1,564, any idea how many of them actually came to Farragut? And there might not be a way to do that, but I figured if there is, you would know.
There is a way to do it. We currently do not have funding to figure that out. I will tell you, we use those leads. We have a quarterly newsletter that goes out, so they have been followed up on, but we have not gotten to the point where we have the technology's out there.
It is.
We don't own it.
Okay, perfect, thank you. No further questions.
Alderman Burnett.
Nothing really to add. The lead generation sounds great, and I've heard a lot of good stuff about the guide, so I'm in support.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
I have nothing.
Nothing I don't as well. Okay, with session closed, I'll ask all in favor vote by saying yes. Yes. Any noes? Okay, let the record show that the contract has been approved as requested.
Thank you.
Okay, next will be approval of field allocation requirements for tennis court rentals.
Hello, Board. Lauren Cox, Parks Manager here at the Town of Farragut. We are revisiting the tennis court policy presented by the Parks and Athletics Council at your August meeting. Currently, the McPhee Park tennis courts allocation is open to any organization. And That happens in January, this coming January for the spring and June for the fall and winter. At your August 11th meeting, a recommendation was presented from the Parks and Athletics Council that would prohibit anyone other than the schools located in the town of Farragut from participating in field allocation. They would have to come in at the pre-pay process later. During the citizen comment period of this agenda item, it was requested that the recommendation be revisited because home tennis matches, well, back up, we said it could only be used until 6:30 p.m. But the schools showed up and requested that we revisit it because they cannot play any matches, any home matches on our courts due to the limit of 4 courts. They would need to extend that time. Not necessarily to 9:30, but they wanted it to be available until 9:30 if they needed it. At the September 13th meeting, the Parks and Athletics Council voted unanimously to recommend the following changes to the rental regulation. The field allocation policy for tennis pickleball courts prohibits anyone other than schools located in the town of Farragut to take part in the process. Rentals by these schools are only allowed until 6:30 p.m. with the following exceptions. They voted to extend play, would be allowed up to a total of 10 days for regular high school tennis matches, but play would never extend past the 9:30 p.m. time. And they would allow for a total of 2 additional days for high school postseason tournament play if it was needed. But again, the play would never extend past 9:30. It wouldn't affect our tournament requests. We would still allow up to 2 tournaments per month for our tennis courts. Any questions?
Going to move to approve?
Second.
Okay. Any,
Yes, sir, we have 2 speakers. Our first one is Janet Morgan.
okay.
Hi, I'm Janet Morgan, 710 Fox Landing Lane, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37922. I'm a parent of a Farragut High School senior. She's been on the tennis team for 3 years, and we really appreciate these courts. They make Farragut High School tennis so much better. The being able to play in our backyard just makes the matches easier. It makes it feel like our community. It gives the kids kind of a little sense of belonging because we don't have tennis courts up at Farragut High School. So this past year, we had to play all of our home matches at West Hills Park. So it would be really great for them to be able to play at McPhee Park. Those tennis courts are really nice and we really appreciate it. So we thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Our second speaker is Michelle Lynn.
Hi, good evening. I am Michelle Lynn. I am a current junior at Farragut High School, and for my freshman year and sophomore year, I played on the Farragut High School tennis team, and it was such a fun experience, and I really, really love the team. And one reason that we really do love playing closer to home in Farragut is because the convenience for anyone that comes to watch, the overall school spirit of playing on like our per se like home turf. It's really special to us, and it's, like I said, easier for friends and family to come watch compared to West Hills. That's a 30-minute drive. Farragut is a lot closer. They can come watch, and it's a big impact on like how we view like, oh look, like all my friends are here, all of them are coming to watch, like I have to play better, let's be bearded. Like that's a big thing for us. And like I said, like playing on your home court, it is really empowering. I'm sure you guys know with football and basketball, like when we play on our home courts, we do a lot better, and it's an overall such a great experience. And our Farragut tennis team has been so respectful with our courts. We will be cleaning up and we will be out by the allocated time at all times. Like I think last season we were basically done the latest if it was a super long match, and courts were very minimal, and we had to do all of our matches with only 2 courts. We only stayed until 8:30 at the latest. So we will not be there for a super long time. We will clean up after ourselves and bring Farragut some wins. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle.
Okay.
We had a motion. Did we do a motion?
Not
Yes.
yet.
Oh, I'll move to approve.
We did move.
There's already one.
Yes, already
Okay.
one.
I thought so.
Okay, discussion. We'll start with Alderman Meyer.
So a couple questions, Lauren. So in the first bullet on the document in our packet, it mentions other or anyone other than schools located in town of Farragut. So does that include the middle schools, like St. John Newman Middle School as well?
Yes, the middle schools could be included in allocated time, but they
Okay.
would not receive the extended
Extended time. Okay.
extended time.
Gotcha. So then my second question, is it 10 days per, we have 3 high schools. So is this 10 days per high school?
It's 10 days total.
So how's that going to be allocated fairly between the 3 high schools?
So at field allocation meetings, what will happen is if the groups meet together at 6 p.m., and if they cannot come up with an agreement on field time, it goes to our Parks and Athletics Council, and they help make a fair decision.
So all 3 schools have to be present at the allocation
Yes.
meeting in order for that to happen? Okay.
Is that all you
But
got?
I guess my only question would be, why wouldn't we just have a set number of days per school, and then if a school doesn't use it, they can give it to the other schools? Why do we, it just seems where the group is trying to, we're creating an environment where folks are competing for just 10 days. And I'm wondering if we could just say, hey, each school gets 4 days or whatever it is. There's only 3 high schools anyway. But my concern is, it's always been my concern, is that the private schools are treated in the same fashion that the public schools are in this circumstance, not with grants. So we're okay with that. But for use of our facilities, the students at our private schools are just as much of citizens of Farragut as our students in our public school. So therefore, I'm trying to understand how we're fairly going to make sure each the 3 high schools gets a fair amount of days with this policy.
Yeah, that's a good question. We invited every school inside the town of Farragut to come to our meeting.
Okay.
We followed up, every school got 3 emails
Okay.
from our department. Farragut High School showed up with their tennis coach, both tennis coaches, and then Concord Christian School
Okay.
showed up with their athletic director and their
Okay.
coach.
Great. Okay.
And they requested 3
Okay.
days each. And so when the council started talking, they came up with 10 days. So
Okay.
that if another group did come in and want
Okay.
to have matches, there would be space for them.
So that answers my question. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lauren, I'm glad you're prepared. Alderman Burnett?
Not a whole lot to add. I think it sounds good. I think the initial objective, when many of us realized that the courts were a part of field allocation and could be snatched up by a single group, it kind of scared a good bit of us. And so the initial response was protect the park, make sure they can't come in and reserve all hours and not leave anything for families in the community. So we did that. Now we're coming back. We've heard the needs, and I think this sounds very fair. So I'm excited that Farragut will get to use the courts, and especially those 10 days after. And I would love for them to come back to us and ask us for a few more because they're so far into the postseason. But yeah, so I'm excited.
Okay. Alderman White?
One question regarding the 9:30 ending time. How do you intend to handle it if you've got a tournament or something and you do have a match, you just gonna turn the lights off, or what are you gonna do?
We allow the lights to stay on 15 minutes past your rental period. So the rental period ends at 9:30. If anyone has the courts rented until 9:30, they do have a 15-minute period to remove themselves from the courts.
So after that 15 minutes is up, if they're not done.
Those lights go out.
They go out.
They do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate your presentation, and I think this is fair, and I'm going to support it. I want to thank Janet and Michelle for coming to speak on behalf of the high schools. It's always good to hear from residents and participants who get to enjoy these courts. So thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, y'all have covered pretty much what I had. So with discussion complete, I'll ask that all in favor, please vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Okay. Looks like, let the record show that the allocations have been approved. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, next will be approval of contract 2023-06, Kingston Pike pedestrian crosswalk improvements.
Good evening, Board. I'm Brandon Tupper. I'm the Assistant Town Engineer, and I'll be presenting the approval of bids for Contract 2023-06, Kingston Pike Pedestrian Crosswalk Improvements. A little background to this project and this contract. It's a critical success factor laid out by the Board for increasing the walkability and the pedestrian safety throughout Farragut, and specifically in our downtown corridor. We define kind of that downtown corridor, and specifically in this contract, as Kingston Pike between Campbell Station and Weston Avenue. This summer, we completed the first phase of increasing the safety for pedestrians there when TDOT did the resurfacing of Kingston Pike. They replaced all the curb ramps on the sidewalk to, number one, bringing them into ADA compliance. So added the truncated domes and lessened the slopes to allow wheelchair access. They also did, they moved them from the radius of the turns and outside, and what that did was shorten the distance for these crosswalks. So instead of having to cross all the way from the end point of the radius, you got a shorter distance. It made quite a bit of difference as far as travel time for a pedestrian as they cross a busy intersection such as Kingston Pike. So this contract takes those pedestrian improvements and brings them to the next level and actually provides for stamped and colored asphalt crosswalks. So a little discussion on what the contract. So on September 9th, 2022, we opened bids for the contract. We had one bidder. It was from Durcap Asphalt Paving Company, teaming with Streetscapes Incorporated for a total of $258,156. What the scope of this contract is providing the stamped and colored asphalt crosswalks at all the intersections or at all the crosswalks for Kingston Pike and Campbell Station Road, Brooklawn Street, Lyndon Welch / Biddle Farms, I believe it's Biddle Farms Boulevard, and West End Avenue and Concord Avenue. So together, let's see, apologize. So Durcap, they've successfully completed quite a few projects in town here recently. They were actually the TDOT contractor for the resurfacing project. They also had our local resurfacing project last year as well. So we're very comfortable with Durcap as a contractor. They'll be providing the safety and coordination oversight for the project while Streetscapes does the actual installation of the stamped and colored asphalt crosswalks. I have Dustin Connor here with Streetscapes here tonight. If you guys have any technical questions about the process or anything as far as selection with the actual stamped and colored itself. But with that said, staff recommends award and approval of award for contract 2023-06 Kingston Pike pedestrian crosswalk improvements to Durcap Asphalt Paving Company for a total of $258,156.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any resident comments on
No,
this?
sir.
None? Okay. Start discussion. I will. Is this going to be done at night, or how are we going to manage traffic on probably some of the busiest intersections that we've got as far as putting this down.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. It is mandated in the contract that it's done at night.
Okay.
So it will be night work. And again, Dustin can talk a little bit to the sequencing of it, but essentially you would start on like your outside lanes, and you'd stamp those one night while you move all the traffic to the inside lanes. Then you'd swap the traffic over, move them to the outside lanes while you stamp the inside lanes, and kind of work your way around the quadrant there, similar to like how a resurfacing project would go.
Okay, thank you. It's only one I had. Next, Alderman Burnett.
Sure. Couple little questions. So there's quite a few pictures in here. What we're considering, or what we're voting on moving forward with, is that going to be the Pat Summit, the herringbone with the brick on the outside, and then another layer of pavement on the outside?
So the best example, so what we're actually proposing is something a little different than what's been done locally here before. The pictures in your packet were provided as examples of what UT's done and what some other municipalities has done, really just for visual of exactly what we are proposing. If you look at the first picture in the packet under the Enos Flint Traffic Patterns XD, you'll see a kind of a dark brick colored crosswalk with a black border and then white lines on the outside. Our color scheme would be something very similar to that. It'll be a brownish brick color. The purpose is we've got a couple different colors brick out in that corridor there between the Campbell Station Inn and Starbucks. So you want kind of a neutral brick color as your color on the inside of the crosswalk there. But we would go with a herringbone, a more traditional pattern. So envision kind of that again, that top image there, but with the herringbone pattern on the inside.
And then the white line on the outside?
Yes, sir. So definitely we'll have the white lines. That's a requirement, especially on a busy highway such as Kingston Pike out here.
Gotcha. And then, we just finished the road resurfacing. How long, what happens when we have to resurface the roads?
That's a great question. Dustin, can you speak to that at all as far as if you want to come on up and...
Yeah, so when it comes time to repave the road, they're going to mill like you all did last time, 1.5 2 inches down. That product can go right into your millings. So when they come through, they won't have to work around the crosswalks or anything if you choose to. If they're in a condition where you're ready to replace them, you just mill it out with the rest of the road and they'll go into the millings. Asphalt plant will have no problem with that.
Do you ever not mill it to keep it there?
Sure, if the crosswalk is still in a condition that you are happy with, you can mill around it. My experience with paving contractors would probably be, it would be more affordable to just blow on through it.
Yeah.
Because that dancing big equipment around the crosswalks could be a challenge. But absolutely, there's been times where the product was in a condition where they wanted it to stay, but the pavement around it needed to come up. So it can be worked around.
Is there a useful life to the crosswalk?
Well, what I can tell you is actually I was talking to our manufacturer's rep. Yes, there is, but the best example is on US 1 in Stamford, Connecticut. They have 25,000 cars a day per lane of traffic. Brandon and I were talking, we're guesstimating 25,000 to 30,000 cars a day for all of Kingston Pike out here. That's been down for over 12 years now, and they haven't replaced it yet in Stamford. Much tougher weather conditions as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
No other questions?
All right. Thank you.
Okay, great. Alderman Meyer?
You answered most of my questions. So the herringbone is a must, so glad to know that. I also like the idea of trying to blend in the Campbell Station Inn, because you probably heard me say multiple times that the Campbell Station Inn is going to be, in my opinion, what we should be facing our other buildings along the entire new downtown corridor. So my only concern is with the black striping. You have the white striping, you have the black. It blends pretty much with the road, where when I look at the UT Pat Summit one, you got a different color brown, you got a darker brown, you got a lighter brown in the middle, and then you got the stripe, and it just looks like it has a bigger presence to me. But if it was me doing it, I would not have the black side brick. I would have a lighter brick and then a darker brick, a lighter brown, a middle brown, and then the white, kind of like what Pat Summit is. But that's It's not going to keep me from voting yes, so it's okay.
One
But I
thing
just have to get that out there.
Absolutely. One thing I'll say is, one thing that Dustin definitely recommended is stay away from lighter colors, because Kingston Pike is such a busy highway, so you do have semi trucks and things like that, and so you will get oil spills and different things like that. So the lighter colors work really well in lower vehicle traffic areas, but you want to stay with the darker colors. But I will say that was
I think
one
go with the
reason
middle brown and then a
Yes,
darker
sir.
brown, and then have the black on just be the road, would be my suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman White?
Only a couple of questions. Do you have a end date within the contract and liquidated damages?
Yes, sir, we do. Apologize, I don't have the contract in front of me, but I believe it's the end of November. This is very similar to a paving project as far as temperature sensitivity. So as soon as, if approved tonight, we'll immediately move towards the notice to proceed, and it will be completed before the asphalt plant shut down, which is typically mid-December. I believe it's the end of November is our completion date, and it would have liquidated damages associated with if that was not met.
No further questions.
More? Okay, thank you, Alderman. Vice Mayor?
Just real quick, Brandon, what is I appreciate questions that Alderman Burnett was asking about lifespan. What's the general turnaround time? When are we going to have to repave Kingston Pike again?
Approximately 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, on a busy major arterial like that, I believe TDOT targets more in the 10 to 15 year
Okay.
range for a resurfacing. Again, it really depends. We have some of our streets hold up for 30 years. Sometimes it is a shorter lifeline, but arterials typically, if you're getting 15 years out of it, that's a pretty good lifespan on it.
Okay, and that's kind of a determination they make. They do kind of like we do and go take a look at the road and see what the condition's in and determine whether they want to do it that year.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's really all I had.
Well, something you got to think about is as soon as we get that fourth lane in from Lovell to the split, it's going to take a lot of traffic off of Kingston Pike, so it may last longer yet.
Lips to God's ears.
That's all I have. Discussion completed. I'll ask Town Recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Yes.
Alderman Povlin.
Yes.
Alderman White.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show the contract has been approved as presented.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you.
Okay, next will be approval of agreement with Tennessee Department of Transportation for Virtue Road Phase 2.
Good evening. You had a called meeting a couple of weeks ago to go over the priorities in our capital improvements program. One of the things that I came away from that discussion with was the fact that you want to go ahead and move forward with the Virtue Road project. As luck would have it, I happen to have a TDOT contract in hand for development of that project, and that's what was in your packet tonight.
Uncanny, isn't it? I was like,
Have to go back to that.
This project is really just a continuation of what we did with Phase 1. It improves the geometric deficiencies of Virtue Road, widens to 11-foot lanes with curb and gutter. In this case, it'll be from the southern terminus of Phase 1 all the way down to Boyd Station Road. Correct that curve as best we can, and then about 1,000 feet to the west to Willow Cove Way. At that point, that should pick up with the improvements that the developer is doing with the Grove at Boyd Station subdivision. This will also include a 10-foot multi-use path on the west side from Turkey Creek Road to just south of Cumberland Presbyterian Church. At that point, it will tie into a greenway that the Grove is building that is extending over to Virtue Road. So eventually, it will all connect and go down Boyd Station Road all the way to McPhee. So I will say this is being funded in 3 funding periods through the TPO. It's an 80-20 split, 80% federal, 20% local funds. Currently, the preliminary engineering, the PE NEPA and PE design phases are all that are funded. That's in the current TIP, that's the Transportation Improvement Program, through the TPO. The right-of-way phase is included in the draft TIP that should be approved, I think, next month by the Executive Board. The construction phase, we will be requesting funding. That would be in the 26 to 29 TIP. So, all that being said, staff recommends approval of the TDOT contract for development of Virtue Road Phase 2 project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any residents?
No, sir.
None. Okay. Okay, you start out with Alderman White.
I'll just say, anytime you can spend money and make a town safer for people to travel on and create a walking trail at the same time, it's money well spent. So,
Thanks.
Okay. Alderman Meyer.
I'm very excited about this project. I think this is one of the most dangerous roads we have in Farragut. I just want to recognize Daryl's hard work in obtaining these funds, as well as Mayor Williams. Without you all, we would be paying a lot more for this project, so thank you for your diligence. I wholeheartedly support it.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, one of these days, we will publish a list of acronyms that, and we will go through that in a training session.
That would be
That'd be
helpful.
nice, because it's taken me 4 years to figure out what TIP is, but
Okay.
it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, something that a lot of people don't realize is every one of our TPO meetings, there is a full sheet that comes with our packet that gives you all the acronyms.
Oh, I like that.
Because when you sit through one of either Daryl's meetings or my meetings, that's what's used. And in order to keep up, you need
Yeah.
a playbook.
That,
So
that list is
idea.
what reminded me that maybe we ought to do that with
It's a
these
very
meetings.
good idea. Hint, hint, Allison. Yeah.
It's on the October agenda to be approved by by our committee.
Well, thank you again for your hard work in getting these funds.
Okay, Alderman Burnett.
Yeah, Daryl, is the greenway that'll be included with this on the west side?
Correct.
Okay, and it goes behind Lakeside Estates. And then what are your thoughts on what'll happen down in the corner? Like how there's gonna be a ton of traffic when this opens up on there, headed to a new school, and that is one heck of a turn.
Right. Well, we're going to have to flatten the curve out a good bit. I mean, right now, it's pretty much a 90-degree, it's like an intersection.
Yeah, the guy's got rocks there for a reason.
Yeah.
Is there a particular angle that you would, this is me, just an accountant asking a traffic engineer, is there a particular angle that's deemed safer for buses and whatnot, or is that?
Oh, I would want to look it up, but
Okay.
I can see something like maybe a 300-foot radius curve.
Okay,
And that's one that we use in our subdivisions
okay.
a lot. I think it's 300 on a collector is a minimum.
No other questions?
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Real quick, I assume a similar process for design review that we went through with Union Road. They'll come in with the first shot at it. We'll get the citizens' input on what they're seeing.
Correct.
Okay, and Virtue Road, you just mentioned, is designated collector. Our subdivision regulations require at least a 6-foot grass strip.
Yes, I believe that's correct, yes.
If possible, and we have room right-of-way, I would love to see it be 8-foot. Anything, I know that we're starting to talk about street trees and anything that we can use to make our streets look more beautiful, and street trees have a tendency to help with slowing traffic down. So if we can manage to get an 8-foot grass strip in there in areas, that would be wonderful.
That's what we'll be looking for.
That's what I'm
then.
advocating for. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. I've already said my piece. With discussion completed, I'll ask Town Recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Yes.
Alderman Pavlin.
Yes.
Alderman White.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that the agreement has been approved, and thank you, Darrell. Okay, next will be approval of appointment to the Education Relations Committee.
Jen's
Okay.
not here. You
No,
want me to do it?
Go for it.
We have, unfortunately, one of our members had to drop off because of her work commitments, and she has a meeting every Monday, which is when we meet. So Michelle Morrow is willing to step up and take her place. I think she's our Farragut intermediate representative. So they've all been participating. Michelle's not new to the committee. She's been at several of our meetings, very invested in all of our schools, and makes a perfect person to fill this vacancy. So the motion is to appoint Michelle Morrow to the Farragut Education Relations Committee.
Second. Okay, discussion, no residents, I assume. Alderman Meyer, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Alderman Burnett?
No, sir.
Alderman White? And I do not as well. With discussion complete, I'll ask all in favor vote for appointment by saying yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Okay, let the record show that appointment has been approved as requested. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, next will be I'll yield the floor to our Town Administrator, David Smoke, for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple of good news items tonight that I'd like to share with the board. First is, in the last several years, in fact, this is our 9th straight year that we have received the Government Finance Officers Association Award for our budget. The FY22 budget was just graded, and when the Government Finance Officers Association looks at our budget, they look at it in certain guidelines to determine if it meets competency as a policy document, as a financial plan, as an operations guide, and as a communications device. There are 14 different criteria that you have to meet in order to be graded and be rated proficient in these categories, and our finance department has done an excellent job of doing our budget once again this year. So I'm going to give kudos to Allison Myers, our finance director, and Pam Hall. They do the bulk of the work for our budget, as well as all of our department directors. They do a wonderful job in getting all of our budget to us in a timely manner. So thank you all very much, Allison, for all the work you do. Another great honor that our finance department, specifically Ms. Myers, has received is she was just appointed by Tennessee State Treasurer David Lillard to the Tennessee Bank Collateral Pool Board. This was established by the General Assembly in 1990 and began operation in 1994. Since that time, there are nearly 100 financial institutions that participate in the pool board, with over $9.6 billion in state and local funding as part of that. Allison will serve a 2-year term on that board, and it's very important to all Tennessee cities and counties across the state. So congratulations, Allison, for being appointed for the next 2 years to that. That's great. Yes, I'll give her kudos for that. Couple other things that we have, Mayor. First of all, thank you, Mayor Board, for allowing me and our assistant to the Town Administrator, Trevor Hobbs, to go to the ICMA conference this past week. Learned a lot from other cities and city managers across the country about what's going on in their communities, and really be able to learn great things in personnel management, leadership development, just several categories all across all cities. So I really appreciate you allowing us to be able to attend that. And finally, we do have our Intro to Farragut town tour tomorrow. So the Intro to Farragut class is starting to wind down. Tomorrow is our town tour, so we're going to take them to several different places to show them a little bit behind the scenes on what some of our different utilities and public safety programs do. So we'll be doing that tomorrow with graduation here in just a couple weeks. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions if the board has any.
Okay, thank you, David. I think it's really important that we continue to participate in these events to where we learn what other towns are doing. I think it gives us a little bit of a heads up about stuff that's coming that we may not see because we're small. But and of course, this and continuing education is something that this board will always support. So thank you, David.
Mm-hmm.
And the invitation for the graduation is at your tables tonight for the Intro to Farragut graduation.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Look forward to that, as always. Okay, any citizens' comments tonight?
Yes, sir, we have one. It's Marion Seaton.
If I would present these first, just for review. Yeah, my name is Marion Seaton. I live at 12009 Boyd Chase Boulevard in the Brookmere subdivision. We moved to Farragut about 16 months ago from the other #1 town in the state of Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee. And I'm here this evening to basically represent the voice of the voiceless in our community. There was an incident involving a matter of public safety, pedestrian safety specifically. On the 28th of August, a neighbor of mine reported to me that they had been walking along Virtue Road with their child in a stroller, and that child was struck in the head with a golf ball. That golf ball, they presume, originated from the tee box number 5 at the Willow Creek Country Club. The ball, fortunately, hit the stroller first before striking the child in the head. I presented an image of that child just as a reference to show what actually happened to her. The fortunate circumstance was it did not hit her in the eye. It did hit her in the head, though. What's odd about this particular situation is the parents who actively use the Virtue Road pedestrian walkway have always walked on that path. And they actually had an incident like that occur where the child was not hit. Ironically, this time the child was hit. My chief concern as a resident of Farragut, and specific of Brookmere, is that I walk along that path, and a lot of other people walk along that path. People in our community are aware of this particular incident, and so as a consequence, they have reduced the amount of pedestrian traffic on that very vital greenway. My other concern is that as we approach the opening of the Little Turkey Creek Greenway, the volume of traffic along that road will be subject to a potential ball strike. Now, this ball strike on this little child was, I think, pretty good evidence that a golf ball traveling at roughly 45 miles on this descending trajectory can do some fairly significant damage to an individual. Thank God, in this particular case, this child was not irreparably damaged. In my report that I just presented to the board, I wanted to make sure that you saw just some very, very basic facts that we discern from the incident. My concern is that I want to make sure that if I talk to the members of my community again, that they will have known that we presented this to the government in the town of Farragut, and that whatever action we can take to help preserve and protect our pedestrians as we walk along Virtue Road can be assured in some way, shape, or form. I don't come here pretending to know what those solutions are. I come here presenting the situation, the incident. I've heard of other situations like this with golf balls that have been traveling on Virtue Road, but I'm not here to talk about those other incidents. I'm here to talk about that very specific concern involving that little individual girl. I have the permission of the parents to disclose their names if you would like that. I can provide a digital copy of my report that I just submitted there. And so I just present this to you this evening. Any questions? Okay, Alderman Meyer?
No, sir, pass.
Alderman White?
No.
Alderman Burnett?
No questions for you, but I think it brings up a very, very good point. Can we reach out to Willow Creek and discuss the incident? Even talk to Fox Den about what they do to minimize
Spray?
balls, spray or balls hit far outside the fairway, because they've got, they got houses. It's not people, but they have to have the same concerns. I mean, maybe there's tee placement, maybe there's placement where you're closer to more mature trees that are less likely to slice that far. I don't know, but
It'd probably help to know exactly where the location was and the kind of the angle, trajectory, things like that, to see kind of if there's a gap there or something. But I know Willow Creek went in and planted a lot of trees whenever the road construction was done. I know that takes some time to grow, but certainly that's one of the best things is kind of a natural landscape that can block things and knock things down from going out. But certainly, yeah, we could certainly talk to Willow Creek and see. But it would probably be helpful to talk to the parents and find out exactly where that was at.
Yeah, location of the stroller.
The stroller was on the Little Turkey Creek Bridge, on the south side of it.
Okay, it's pretty easy to.
Yeah. It's roughly 400 feet from the black tees on the number 5 tee box.
Jeez, what a drive.
What a slice.
that's a heck of a
That slice.
But I do appreciate you bringing that to us.
Yes.
And thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seaton.
You'll need to, ma'am, you'll need to go to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Jeannie Brykolski. I live on Crestview Road in Bel Air. On next door a few weeks ago, a lady was saying she'd been driving down Virtue Road and she got hit with the golf ball, shattered, it put a hole in her windshield. And several other people posted on there how they've had near misses, whether they've been walking, driving a car, riding a bicycle. So this is not an isolated incident. I don't ever go on Virtue Road. It's not an area I ever travel, so I've never seen, I don't know what it looks like. It's not personal in that it's happened to me or anything, but I'm concerned about our community and the people in it, so I just wanted to back up the gentleman who spoke.
Okay, thank you, Jean.
You're welcome.
Okay, we will have to research this, so it's not something we can make a comment really on tonight, other than the questions, but we will do some research and see what is going on with it, because a 400-yard slice, that's pretty amazing. So I guess we have to look at.
400 feet, not yards.
Huh?
400 feet, not
Oh.
yards. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, anything else, Allison?
sir.
None? Okay, then time is approximately 6:55, and without objection, September 22nd, 2022, Farragut Board and Mayor and Aldermen meeting is now adjourned.